just wait for all you guys to sit down. Okay. So you see that? Right now I'm acquiring 5 access points. And you see there's different color lights on that flash here? That means something.
Stop. No.
Right? What do you think a green light means?
It's good. Good signal.
Yellow?
It's not so good signal.
And red?
Can't. Bad signal.
And gray?
Don't.
Nothing. Gray means it's not catching it at all.
Red? Green. Yeah.
Well, it's actually orange, but it means that
Playing between.
it's borderline. It's a very low signal. So, and you see that they're flashing. Why would they be flashing, would you think?
Because the signal's changing.
Exactly. And why would the signal change?
Interference.
Noise.
Okay, shut up for 2 minutes. Let someone else try to answer.
Oh, sorry.
Obviously, you know all the answers.
No, I don't.
So someone else? Why is it flashing? What would make the signal strength go up and down?
People passing.
It could be people, yes. It could be the building. It could be interference.
Temperature.
Well, temperature if we were outside, like the weather. Like if it's raining or snowing, something like that.
But it is raining, so it affects.
But we're indoors. We're catching access points that are inside the building here. Okay, now you see there's a whole bunch of fields up on top here. So, anyone want to guess what this field called MAC is about? MAC address, exactly. And notice when if I move my cursor and I put it on this line here, I can make this field bigger or smaller. So let me make it a little bit smaller. The second field, what is it for? The third field? Let's say that I don't want this field. Let me hide it. You saw how I hid the field?
Yep.
I right-clicked on it and I took it out. The speed, what is that? Yes, SNR? Signal to noise ratio, exactly. So then I have the signal, then I have the noise, right? If I go a little further down, I have a field called IP ADDR. Anyone? IP address, subnet. Then the field latitude and longitude.
For GPS, I guess.
That's for the GPS. Then first scene, last scene. That's the time. So if I wanted to do a ward ride with a large group of students, what should I do here so that we all have the same time?
Synchronize our watches and
Synchronize our clocks, exactly. And how would we do that?
cell phone. We give ourselves a certain time.
No, it's a lot even easier. We just go into the configuration of the clock on the Windows XP machine, and we use the same server, right? There's a protocol to do that.
NTS.
NTP.
NTP.
NTP, yeah.
Yes, right? So we just synchronize on the same NTP server. All right? So right now it's not seeing the GPS coordinates because I haven't configured the GPS. So if I go, the first thing I want to look in the top menu here, we can take a quick look at the menus. You guys all in netstumbler right now?
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
So let's look at the top the top menus here. The first one is file. So this allows me to start up a new file, which I could do here. Starts a new file. See, it erased everything, then it starts capturing again. Then another important one is save. Right? I want to save. If I'm going to go out and do a ward ride, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, like my battery can die, right? My computer can stop working. It can happen, right? So I want to save. So how often should I save my file?
10 seconds every 30?
10 minutes.
10, 15 minutes maybe, something like that. So if I lose data, I'm only losing like 10, 15 minutes of data. Save as, pretty obvious. Export allows me to export the netstumbler file. By default, the netstumbler file is in a format called NS1. And actually, the software that we use, that we're going to use to analyze this, it all reads the NS1 format, so we're good.
Save it automatically, or you just have to click it at each and every 15 minutes?
To save?
Yeah.
Well, for now we have to click save, but maybe there is an option that saves it automatically. We haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, so edit, cut and paste. In view, one interesting thing that we have down here is options. So if we go look at options, so in options there's a few options that might be interesting. One is scan speed. Why would we want to change the scan speed?
Because we're in the car, so we can put it faster.
Exactly. If we
Are they
want,
just using
see, the faster we're going, the faster we put the scan speed, right? The slower we're going, the slower we can put it, right? Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
And you notice there's an option here called auto adjust using GPS. So what is that going to do? Well, the GPS is going to tell it how fast we're going. So it's going to put it at the right setting for the speed that we're going at.
Save file automatically. You have this option.
So exactly, we have someone earlier said, well, maybe we can save it automatically. So there is an option to save file automatically. But this will actually save automatically when you close. It doesn't save like every 10 or 15 minutes or something like that.
Okay.
So the next option is display. This is to display the different ways to display the
Timestamps.
timestamps.
Oh no,
No, the longitude, latitude.
yes, you're right.
We'll leave it as it is. The next field is GPS. Now that looks interesting. This is where I'm going to enable it to talk to my GPS. So the first thing I need to set is the protocol. So in this case, I have the standard. So we'll just leave it at that for now. The port, which port is it using? In this case, I'm using the USB to serial port driver that comes with the Microsoft GPS that I have. And by default, I believe it is using COM4. But actually, I can go into the settings of the GPS and verify that. But I'll just put it at COM4. 9600, 8 bits, no stop bit, one stop bit, no parity. And flow control is none. Then the next fields I have is a scripting field. The scripting field will allow me to execute some scripts, some batch files, for example, when I find an access point. So I could I could have a script that when it finds a web, automatically starts a piece of software to try to acquire the web key. And finally, the MIDI. Anyone know what MIDI is?
Multimedia.
It's a musical instrument digital interface. So I could actually enable the MIDI, so it could connect to synchronizer, a synthesizer card. So I have special sounds, use different sounds than the default sounds. Because now, if I put sound on here, let me click on OK. See, when I clicked on OK, it went from GPS, it changed it, now it says listening. Right? Did you hear the sound that it just made here a second ago?
Yeah.
Well, it could have been me.
So let me start a new file. Let me close this file. Start a new file. File new. You hear that?
Oh yeah.
Sonar.
What's that for?
Sorry?
Come in.
Oh, like a submarine. Yes, like sonar.
So